Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. This time, we're going to be exploring the Book of Psalms.
Wonderful.
I think a lot of people are familiar with them, at least in name,
Yes.
but we're going to be going way beyond just the surface level today. And,
Absolutely.
thankfully, you've provided us with some really great material here to work with, and
I'm excited.
I think we're all going to get a lot out of this deep dive.
Me too.
We're going to be discovering how these ancient poems, prayers, and songs are surprisingly relevant, I think, to a lot of people for navigating the complexities of modern life today.
They are. And you know what? It's that blend of timeless wisdom and practical advice
Yeah.
offered with incredible emotional depth
Yes.
that makes them so compelling.
Yeah.
And we'll uncover how they can be a source of comfort during times of stress, offer guidance for building stronger relationships, and can help you find direction when you're feeling lost.
It's like having this ancient guidebook
sure.
for the human experience, right?
Love that.
But I want to get into the structure a bit.
Okay.
Because I know that the Psalms are divided into 5 sections, much like the 5 books of the Torah.
Yes.
So what's the significance of that 5-part structure?
Well, that structure is key to understanding the Psalms as a journey.
Okay.
It suggests that they weren't meant to be just random poems scattered about.
Right.
Think of them as a spiritual roadmap, mirroring the stages of spiritual growth.
So each section represents a different stage
That's right.
in that journey.
Okay.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And then within those sections, we encounter all these different types of psalms, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you've got lament, you've got thanksgiving, you've got praise. It's like the full spectrum of human emotion is in there.
Exactly. The Psalms don't shy away from the rawness of human experience.
Yeah.
They embrace it all.
Yeah.
The highs and the lows, the moments of doubt, the moments of profound gratitude.
Right.
And it's that honesty, that vulnerability that makes them so relatable, even thousands of years later.
It's funny because I think a lot of people might assume that the Psalms are only about praising God, but
Yeah.
you're saying they're much more complex than that.
Oh, much more.
Okay.
Think about it. How often do you encounter texts that allow you to freely express frustration,
Yeah.
anger, sadness?
Mm-hmm.
The Psalms don't just tell you to praise,
Yeah.
they give you space to lament, to grieve, to wrestle with doubt.
That's a powerful point.
It is.
I know that in my own life, sometimes it's those lament psalms that resonate the most.
I agree.
Like in Psalm 42, when the writer cries out, "Why, my soul, are you downcast? Put your hope in God."
Yes.
Like it acknowledges that feeling of being utterly lost and down. I mean,
We've all been there.
we've all been there.
We have, and that's the genius of the Psalms.
Yeah.
They meet us where we are,
Right.
in whatever emotional state we might be in.
Yeah.
They give us permission to be authentic, to acknowledge the full spectrum of our human experience.
But then even in those moments of lament, there's this glimmer of hope,
Yes.
this turning towards something greater.
Yes. And that's where the Psalms' relevance to modern life becomes even more clear.
Okay.
Think about the anxiety and stress we all face.
Right.
Those lament psalms offer a model for processing difficult emotions,
Yeah.
for acknowledging them, and then ultimately for seeking solace in something beyond ourselves.
So we've got this framework of a spiritual journey, this wide range of emotions being explored.
Yes,
But the Psalms are also incredibly poetic,
they are.
right? They use literary techniques that make them stick with you.
Absolutely. Parallelism is a big one.
Okay.
It's this beautiful way of presenting ideas in pairs, either by repeating them or contrasting them.
Right.
And it adds this wonderful rhythm and depth.
Right, like in Psalm 1, where it compares the righteous person to a tree planted by streams of water yielding its fruit in season.
Yes.
The imagery is so vivid, you can practically see that tree flourishing,
Yes,
drawing life from the water, and it immediately makes you think about resilience and growth.
absolutely.
It's pretty powerful stuff.
It is. And then you have acrostic structures like in Psalm 119. It's amazing. Each verse begins with a successive letter of the Hebrew alphabet.
Wait, so they were using the alphabet to help them remember?
Yes.
Like a memory trick?
Exactly. Imagine trying to memorize 176 verses.
Oh my gosh.
The acrostic structure made the Psalms easier to remember and pass down through generations.
Wow.
It was a way of ensuring that these words, these teachings, would survive.
That's incredible.
It is.
It's fascinating how they wove those practical elements right into the poetry.
I know.
It makes you realize how intentional they were about preserving these texts.
Absolutely.
But speaking of practical, Let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
All this talk about structure and poetry is great, but how can you actually use the Psalms in your daily life?
Right.
What's the takeaway for our listeners?
Well, the Psalms can be a powerful tool for personal reflection and growth.
Okay.
They offer a framework for connecting with something larger than yourself, whether that's a higher power, the natural world, or simply a sense of inner peace.
So instead of just admiring them from afar, you're saying we should actually engage with them.
Yes, but how?
What, how?
One way is through meditation.
Okay.
Choose a psalm that speaks to your current emotional state and spend some time reflecting on its words.
Okay.
Let the verses wash over you and see what thoughts and feelings arise.
Almost like a guided meditation, but with the Psalms as your guide?
Exactly.
Okay, that's a great idea. What if someone is feeling overwhelmed or anxious? Which psalm would you recommend for them?
Psalm 46 is a wonderful choice for finding calm amidst chaos.
Okay.
It reminds you, be still and know that I am God.
Right?
That simple phrase can be incredibly grounding when your mind is racing.
It's like an invitation to pause, to breathe, to remember that you're not alone in the midst of whatever you're facing.
Absolutely.
Powerful stuff. And what about when you need a boost of confidence or a reminder of your inherent worth?
For that, I'd recommend Psalm 139.
Okay.
It's a beautiful exploration of the miracle of creation and celebrates the uniqueness of each individual.
I love that one. It's a good one. It's so easy to get caught up in self-doubt and comparison.
Right.
But Psalm 139 is like a warm hug reminding you that you are inherently valuable just as you are.
I agree.
The Psalms can also be a powerful tool for journaling.
Oh, absolutely.
Choose a verse or passage that resonates with you and use it as a starting point for your own reflections. Write about what the words bring up for you, how they connect to your own experiences, and any insights or questions that emerge.
That's great.
So it's like having a written conversation with the psalmist, bouncing ideas off of them, exploring your own thoughts and feelings.
Yes.
That's brilliant. You
Yeah,
know, I've actually been experimenting with that lately, using the Psalms as prompts for my morning journaling.
Wonderful.
It's amazing how those ancient words can spark such relevant insights for my modern life.
It's remarkable, isn't it?
It is.
It speaks to the enduring power of the Psalms.
Yeah.
They tap into something universal about the human experience, something that transcends time and culture.
Okay, so we've covered meditation journaling. What about prayer?
Right.
How do the Psalms fit into that practice?
For many, the Psalms provide a language for prayer.
Okay.
They offer a way to express gratitude, to seek guidance, to confess wrongdoing, to ask for forgiveness. They give voice to the full range of human emotions and longings.
So instead of struggling to find the right words, you can turn to the Psalms and let their words become your own.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And there are specific Psalms that are particularly well suited for certain situations.
Okay.
If you're feeling lost and need direction, Psalm 23, the Shepherd's Psalm, can offer comfort and reassurance.
Right.
If you're seeking forgiveness and renewal, Psalm 51 is a powerful prayer of repentance. And if you're simply feeling overwhelmed by life's challenges, Psalm 121 reminds you that help is available, that you are not alone.
I'm starting to see why people have turned to the Psalms for comfort and inspiration for thousands of years.
Me too.
It's like they've got a psalm for every situation, every emotion imaginable.
They do.
Speaking of which, earlier we talked about the 5 sections of the Psalms and how they mirror the 5 books of the Torah.
Yes.
What's the deeper meaning behind that structure?
It's a fascinating connection, isn't it?
It is.
It suggests that the Psalms are more than just a collection of individual poems.
Okay.
They're meant to be read and understood as a whole, as a map of the spiritual journey.
So each section represents a different stage in that journey.
That's right.
That's intriguing. Can you elaborate on that a bit more?
Well, the first section aligns with Genesis, the book of beginnings.
Okay.
It's about creation foundation and the establishment of a relationship with God.
Okay.
The second section corresponds to Exodus, which is about liberation and redemption. The Psalms in this section often focus on themes of deliverance from suffering and oppression.
It's almost like reliving those pivotal moments in history through the lens of personal experience.
It is.
And the other section?
The third section aligns with Leviticus, which is all about law and ritual. The Psalms here tend to explore themes of obedience, worship, and seeking forgiveness.
Makes sense. And then we have Numbers, which is all about wandering in the wilderness and learning to trust God's provision.
Yes.
I'm guessing the corresponding Psalms probably reflect those themes as well.
You get it. They often express feelings of doubt, fear, and uncertainty, but ultimately they affirm the faithfulness of God, even in the midst of hardship.
Wow.
And finally, the fifth section aligns with Deuteronomy, which is about entering the promised land, a place of abundance and blessing.
So the Psalms in this section probably focus on themes of gratitude, celebration, and fulfillment.
Exactly. They often express joy, thanksgiving, and a deep sense of peace and contentment.
Wow.
It's like arriving home after a long journey.
That five-part structure really adds another layer of meaning to the Psalms, doesn't it?
It does.
It's like they're not just individual poems, but rather a tapestry woven together to tell a larger story, the story of our spiritual journey.
Beautifully put, and it reminds us that the spiritual life, much like our human experience, isn't linear. It's a journey with twists and turns, moments of joy and sorrow, times of doubt, and moments of profound faith.
And the Psalms embrace all of it, don't they?
They do.
They give us permission to be fully human, to express the full spectrum of our emotions, to wrestle with the big questions, and to find solace and guidance along the way.
Yes.
It's incredible how these ancient texts can still speak so directly to us today.
I think it's because they tap into something universal about the human experience.
Yeah.
They speak to our deepest longings, our fears, our hopes, our desire for connection, meaning, and purpose.
It's like they understood us before we even understood ourselves.
Perhaps they did, and that's why they continue to resonate with people across cultures and generations.
You know, I'm starting to think that engaging with the Psalms is like having a conversation with the ages.
That's a good way to look at it.
Connecting with those voices from the past who grappled with the same human emotions and challenges that we face today.
That's a powerful way to put it. And it reminds us that despite the vast differences in our cultures and time periods, we're all part of the same human tapestry. We share the same hopes, fears, and longings.
And the Psalms offer a way to tap into that shared experience, to find solace in the wisdom of those who came before us, and to discover timeless truths that can guide us on our own journeys.
Do they offer a wellspring of wisdom waiting to be discovered?
It really is remarkable how these ancient texts can offer so much guidance and solace even in our modern world. You know, we've explored the structure, the different types of psalms,
Yes.
their poetic beauty, and even practical ways to incorporate them into your life. But for those listening who are feeling inspired and want to dive deeper into the psalms on their own,
Right.
where would you suggest they begin?
I always recommend starting with a psalm that resonates with your current emotional state.
Okay.
If you're feeling anxious,
Right.
perhaps explore Psalm 23.
Mm-hmm.
If you're overwhelmed, Psalm 46 might offer comfort.
Okay.
Let your intuition guide you.
So don't overthink it. Just go with what feels right in the moment.
Exactly.
And there's no one right way to engage with the Psalms, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You can read them silently, recite them aloud, sing them, meditate on them,
Yes.
journal about them, whatever feels most meaningful.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you and allowing the wisdom of the Psalms to seep into your heart and mind.
What I find fascinating is that the Psalms weren't just written by one person, right?
That's right.
There are multiple authors, each with their own unique voice and perspective.
That's right. King David is traditionally attributed as the author of many of the Psalms,
Right.
but there are others attributed to Moses Solomon and even anonymous writers.
So it's like this collection of voices, this chorus spanning generations, all wrestling with the same fundamental questions about life, faith, and a human condition.
And that's what makes the Psalms so powerful.
Yeah.
They offer a tapestry of human experience, a reminder that we're not alone in our struggles, our joys, our doubts, and our triumphs.
And they remind us that these big questions, questions about suffering, meaning, purpose,
Yes.
they've been pondered for centuries.
Yes, they have.
And the Psalms offer a way to engage with those questions in a deeply personal and meaningful way.
They do. The Psalms offer a wellspring of wisdom waiting to be discovered.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time for us to resurface from our deep dive into the book of Psalms. We've only scratched the surface.
We have.
But hopefully you've gained a deeper appreciation for the timeless wisdom and beauty these ancient texts hold.
I hope so.
If the Psalms have resonated with people for thousands of years, what message do they hold for you today?
That's the question.
I encourage you to explore them for yourself and discover the treasures that await.
You might be surprised by what you find.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep. It really is remarkable how these ancient texts can offer so much guidance and solace, even in our modern world. You know, we've explored the structure, the different types of psalms, their poetic beauty, and even practical ways to incorporate them into your life.
Yes, we have.
But for those listening who are feeling inspired and want to dive deeper into the psalms on their own, Where would you suggest they begin?
Well, I always recommend starting with a psalm that resonates with your current emotional state.
Okay.
If you're feeling anxious, perhaps explore Psalm 23. If you're overwhelmed, Psalm 46 might offer comfort. Let your intuition guide you.
So don't overthink it.
Yeah, don't overthink it. Just go with what feels right in the moment, and there's no one right way to engage with the Psalms.
Right. You can read them silently, recite them aloud, sing them, meditate on them, journal about them,
Exactly.
whatever feels most meaningful.
It's about finding what works for you and allowing the wisdom of the Psalms to seep into your heart and mind.
You know what I find fascinating is that the Psalms weren't just written by one person, right?
That's right.
There are multiple authors, each with their own unique voice and perspective.
That's right. King David is traditionally attributed as the author of many of the Psalms, but there are others attributed to Moses, Solomon, and even anonymous writers.
So it's like this collection of voices, this chorus spanning generations,
Yes.
all wrestling with the same fundamental questions about life, faith, and the human condition.
And that's what makes the Psalms so powerful. They offer a tapestry of human experience, a reminder that we're not alone in our struggles, our joys, our doubts, and our triumphs.
Yeah, and they remind us that these big questions, questions about suffering meaning purpose,
Right.
they've been pondered for centuries.
For centuries.
And the Psalms offer a way to engage with those questions in a deeply personal and meaningful way.
Do they offer a wellspring of wisdom just waiting to be discovered?
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time for us to resurface from our deep dive into the Book of Psalms.
Okay.
We've only scratched the surface, but hopefully you've gained a deeper appreciation for the timeless wisdom and beauty these ancient texts hold.
I hope so.
If the Psalms have resonated with people for thousands of years, what message do they hold for you today? I encourage you to explore them for yourself and discover the treasures that await.
You might